This is going to be a very interesting interview with one of my students. We're basically going to talk a lot about the longevity of winning products. So for him, the case was that he only had one single winning product. And with only that one winning product, he actually made over $800,000 in less than a year. So here we're going to talk about a lot of things which you have to understand to make a product work long term. You have some of these products which work for a couple of months and then just die down. And here we actually are going to talk about how to prevent that and how to make them work so they just consistently are profitable over and over again every single month. So trust me, this is going to be really interesting. Let's jump into it.
All right. So this is going to be a video where I'm going to talk to one of my students, Andreas. We've been working for how long? 7, 8 months, something like that. Maybe even longer.
A year now, I think.
Yeah. So basically you can tell your story, what happened to you, how everything went for the last like 12 months or whatever. And
Basically I did dropshipping before in 2019. Had like 3 products that I tried to sell, and basically I lost a lot of money doing that because I didn't know what I was doing. And I scaled ads and I was not profitable. I was still scaling. So I was losing money without noticing. So only at the end of the year it was visible. So I basically left dropshipping again and went back to work. And then last year, also due to COVID and stuff, so I had to rethink and reorganize things, and I thought, okay, I want to go into online marketing, this kind of stuff. I want to just make money from anywhere, but I want guidance, so I want a mentor. And then I met somebody on a Facebook group and talked to them, and he recommended you, and then that's how things started. So
and basically you said you tested 3 products and they didn't work out, so you lost money doing that without even properly noticing. What was the problem there? What do you think?
The problem is that I didn't calculate my KPIs properly, and so it looked good at first sight because I made sales. But I didn't really know my break-even rise, like including all the other costs. So I knew it roughly, but in the end, the small costs that all come together, they lower your break-even rise, or they rise it. And I didn't notice that. So I was like, okay, so it's like break-even, a little bit profitable, so I can get it done, and then just have to invest more and do like different targeting and try out different things. And in the end, I was not even break even. I was under break even, was like losing money constantly. So, and then it cost me more than 10K in total.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then what happened when we actually got started? I think for you, it took a couple of products till you find a winner, but maybe you can explain that, what happened there.
Yeah. The first product we did was like, an almost winner, I think. So it took quite a while because it was kind of promising, but didn't really take off. And like at the same time, I was starting to test new products, and then I think it was the 5th product that we did. Then it was quite noticeable that this is different. So, and then could basically start scaling this one profitable in the first week, and then.
And how long is that running? Since then, basically it's the same product running for the last like 9 to 10 months, right?
Yeah, so this is still my main product actually. So I've been testing I've been a little bit lazy with testing, you know that. But so this is it's still running a year now, I think, almost a year.
And how much did it make in total?
Around 800K.
Nice. Okay. And the profit margin?
The profit margin, well, I'm struggling at the moment. I have some Facebook issues, It's roughly around 15% on average, I would say. So in in the beginning, it was a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
And then I switched stores. I built a new store around it. And then the profit margin went up to 25%. Yeah, iOS has an impact in the recent times a little bit. So
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you can share your screen and quickly show the revenue itself and what the stats look like. All right, there we go. Yeah, you can select the bigger time frame.
Yeah, as I said, so basically right now my Facebook campaigns are down, but I still managed to make $1,000 yesterday with really little spend.
Nice.
So what we just do here today. So this is the second store for the product.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I launched it in March.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so could scale it to around 100K in, yeah, what is it? For 5 months per month. So yeah.
Nice.
Build up the pixel again.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first store here. I just use this for testing new products. You can select also larger time frame. We start like in September, I think. Not sure. So yeah. So this was
nice.
the first
So you
one.
basically transitioned from that store to the next one, and you can see here the conversion rates drastically increased. Did it, or is it because of Zipify it's not showing properly, right?
Yeah, this is Zipify, Trackify, and didn't really track it.
Mm-hmm.
The conversion rate here was around 4 to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And here on the new store, I managed to bring it up to 6 point something on average.
Nice. Okay, cool. And for you, what was kind of the game changer here? Like, why did it not work before, and how did you manage to do those numbers?
I would say product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So product research and yeah, I would say
screenshot by the way.
Yeah, it's 90% product. Yeah. So I would say it's a product probably. Mm-hmm. And knowing the KPIs and reading the data. So I learned a little bit in between, but I think the main difference was the product, because at first I used products that I thought would be working, because at first I used to sell a product that was trending in Germany, and I thought, so I'm going to be one of the first to sell it in the US. And yeah, I didn't take into account like cultural differences, different lifestyles, you know, like people think about those products completely different than in Germany. And yeah, like the target group was completely different than here in Germany. So that was just basically poking in the dark, you know. Yeah.
Okay. And was it basically when you saw this product the first time, did it stick out to you, or was it just one of those regular products which you saw and there was nothing special before you tested it?
Yeah, I think it didn't really stick out. I didn't think much about it. Actually, I had it on my list with you, on my first product research list, and it was already there, but I didn't test it then, because I was still testing the other products. So I have to say, at that time, you remember, I was completely broke, so I had to really be careful with my budget. So I didn't really test a lot of products at the same time because I didn't have the budget. So but then I started testing this one and could see it like right away. And yeah, this is something that you told me, that it doesn't matter what you think about the product, right? So
yes, the personal opinion, like you have to lay away like immediately from the get-go. It doesn't matter at all what you think about the product or like the niche or whatever. Yeah, that's really important. But now in retrospect, do you see how this product is different than the rest of your products, or do you still think this is basically just a regular product like the other ones?
No, it is solving actually problems. It's kind of, it's not like really a problem solving product, but it's important to a wide audience, which I didn't know before. I thought, okay, this is gonna be for these kind of persons or whatever, but in the end, it's actually a useful tool, and it's in a niche. It's like in a niche of a niche. So it's yeah, I managed to discover a much wider audience than what I first had thought that the product fits. And this is like quite cool. This is, I think, still, that's the reason why I'm still selling it, because it might be an evergreen, who knows? It's just because it's important to so many people in the end.
Yeah. And with you, it was pretty interesting that you kind of tried out a bunch of sub niches in your niche, and multiple things worked.
Yeah.
How did you, like, did you randomly test them, or just like how did you approach the different niches there?
Yeah, so basically I went through all the suggestions in Facebook and the targeting, and then I took also customer feedback, because there were people writing me, like coming from different niches that I never thought of, and they're like, hey, I don't know, does this work for this, like, is this like important for this? And I said, well, if they asked, then it might be. So I just tested that, these kind of interests. And so yeah, this is like how it went.
Yeah. So here, what you said, sometimes it's a pretty dangerous thing to actually do, to listen to people just on Facebook randomly commenting things. I've done a couple of mistakes in the beginning where I listened to people where basically I didn't know anything about a niche. And then I come into the niche, the product is working semi-well, it's doing great, like it's breaking even, for example. And then the people in the niche tell me, like 10 different people say, okay, this is not working, it's not gonna work because of this. And I listened to them and I stopped selling it. And I remember how that was a big mistake, because when in reality, this product was working really well, and I just didn't hit the perfect audience there. So the important thing here is, I would say, listen to the people who already bought from you, and don't listen to the people so much who didn't, So if somebody bought from you who is like in a sub niche from yours, and they say, hey, I just bought this, does it also work for this? Or like, I would really love you to customize it for this niche as well. Then go for that. But I would a little bit more listen to the people who actually bought than to the people who didn't.
Yeah, I don't listen to the people that don't buy.
Okay, yeah, good. Then the other thing, what I think is one of the big reasons why the product of yours worked, is that it just makes sense to buy multiple. And that's a huge thing. Like, this is going to be a game changer if you select a good product from the get-go. And you have to always think of that like factor before you even sell the product. So I see a lot of people do the mistake of thinking that the upsell is done in the funnel, when in reality, the product itself determines a lot about how many pieces of the product is going to be sold to one specific person. Like, what was your experience with that? How, like, was it normal that people bought multiple for you?
This is the reason why I'm profitable. So my product makes total sense to buy multiple from, because it has different variants, and it's not just only a nice to have, it makes sense for the customers to buy them. And then there is like a counter product that also makes total sense for them to buy. So in the end, I can sell a bundle with multiple products. And I would say at least 50% of all customers, they don't buy a single one, they buy bundles. So when I have small
really
bundles,
good number.
I have larger bundles. And now I'm starting, or I did it already. I added different products that are relevant in this niche. And I just found some more. I wanted to add it to the store now soon. So the upsell is really important, because you spend the money on Facebook to get to the customer, and then you just get the most out of them. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And how do you structure the upsell? Where does mainly the sales come from? Is it on the product page immediately? Is it pre-purchase, post-purchase, or what's the ratio there?
A lot of it is one-click upsell, for example. So as soon as they bought, they just get an offer for the same product or the counter product for a lower price. And if they don't like it, I offer also another lower price, and then
for the exact same product.
Yeah, the exact same product. So, and it works quite well. But actually also many people just buy several from the beginnings, and but then I also offer the bundle for a normal product price. And like, as I said, almost 50% of people, they just go for the bundle right away because it makes sense.
Yeah.
And now I implemented several tools. I just started playing around with an SMS tool, and it's been really good results so far with this. It's just basically you get a welcome discount and you get them on the list. And I've noticed like everybody who's accepting this welcome discount is buying bundles. So I'm making a little bit less, but everybody is buying bundles instead of single products. And this is also like really.
Okay. So and it's all about those little things which you tweak later on. And that's like a key thing which I saw you did pretty well. You basically tested out a bunch of things for that one product. And there's always two approaches. Either you start testing a bunch of other products to kind of make up for this product not working forever, or you try your best to make this product work forever. And you kind of took the approach, probably also because you're pretty lazy with testing, of testing everything on this one product. But you basically did a pretty good job with that. And you kind of did like, you structured it pretty well with all the upselling. And I saw that your average order value over the time increased pretty well, which is very valuable. And also like a couple of things I also learned from you with the influencer thing, or how do you call it, with affiliates. That's also like a good thing, which is working basically for people watching. You just put a affiliate link for everybody who bought the product, and they can kind of refer the product to other friends with that affiliate link, and they get like a percentage off or whatever, which is like just free promotion. And it's already a person who bought, so they're interested.
Basically makes me 3 to 4K every month, and I don't have to do anything. So
crazy. And those things, those little tweaks are just like adding the profits on top and on top. And this the same thing what you said, like from 15 you went to 20% and to 25% profit. That's because of those little tweaks which you do along the way. And the same thing goes for example, the pre-purchase, post-purchase upsell thing, which we're always doing. Like I basically always preach about selling the same product as a post-purchase for cheaper, and then when they say no, selling the exact same product for even cheaper, which like logically doesn't really make sense, because why would a company do that? However, you just make more money. And this is also one of those things where you don't have to like it, or you don't have to personally you don't have to think, okay, I would actually purchase this if I would see it. It just works, and you don't have to really think about it. So
I think a lot of people, they like a bargain, so they just say, okay, wherever, I don't need it, but I can maybe give it to someone.
For sure.
That makes a huge difference for me in the profit, because for me it's the highest cost is actually the initial shipping cost. So and every product that I can upsell is making me so much more profit, because it's just a really small like amount of money in comparison to what I sell it for then. And so this is like really important.
And what would you say were kind of the biggest problems you had along the way? So from the very get-go till now, what was the biggest problems, and also how did you solve them so far?
First is my product research laziness, I think. I'm working on that. And then the next thing, there was some trouble with Facebook, like everybody has it. Page got shut down, like right now again. And but so far I was able to solve it. So let's see how it's this time. This time is a little bit different. So let's see. And yeah, recently the tracking, yeah, they gave me trouble. It's due to the iOS update. So, but also I switched. So I changed my ad strategy basically when I switched stores, and I've seen pretty good results with that. And there was like a good thing that the tracking did not really matter for me that much for a long time, because even though Facebook was not reporting correctly, everything was running profitable. And I didn't really have to mess a lot with my ads, because it was basically an automation strategy that doesn't require touching the ads too much. So
okay, so maybe break down what specifically you changed about it, which did better.
So in the first store, basically, I did a lot of ABO campaigns, and I just tweaked the ad sets every day. So this requires a lot of attention, and I think it's necessary in the beginning, because you have to find what works and what not. So you can sort of find out what's the best audience, what's the best lookalike, what's the best ad creative and stuff that works. And by the time I switched the store, I had all this information, and then I started using account simplification strategy, that's basically called. And that means I give Facebook the freedom to work with the data, and I just basically use CBOs on higher budgets, and I throw all the ad sets in there that worked. Is it like lookalikes or interest targeting? And then I use what's it called? Dynamic ad creatives. So basically, I put everything in there that worked for me prior, and then just let Facebook do its thing, and it worked pretty well for me so far.
Okay. So yeah, that's a thing which I would always recommend testing out later on. I wouldn't start out with that, because Facebook doing its thing is normally the best thing you can do. However, you should first kind of guide it in the right direction. And I would always first give it specific targeting. Don't go with CBOs, don't go too broad, and then start to narrow things, like broaden things when you start getting the data. So yeah, that's like a thing which if you're already doing like 100K or something like that, you should for sure listen to that. Before that, I would probably actually stick to the ABO thing and like do like strategically from there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have worked without the data. So basically, I've run the store several months on the ABO strategies, but then I knew, okay, this is like my key audience, or these are my 3 or 5 key audiences, and those audiences are pretty big. And then you can add the audience expansion tool, for example, and yeah, so.
Yeah, and I always try to like specifically make the point about for who this is, because always when you see like videos on YouTube, it's very like easy to get distracted by strategies which are simply not for you. And like if you listen to somebody who already did good numbers, and then you basically look at that and like look at only the strategies they did after having good results, it doesn't make sense to listen to that before you actually are there. So first I would stick to the basics basically. Yeah, but for you, kind of what's generally the approach for you when you see that, okay, a problem is there, and you know that a problem is gonna occur? How do you try to face it, and how do you try to look at it so it's actually manageable? Maybe you can also give some advice to that.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is the mindset. There's always going to be problems, but doesn't help you to get really nervous, you know. And for example, now basically my whole business is down, and I have the bills to pay, and I should maybe be nervous, but I try to have the mindset to know that I'm going to find a solution to everything, to every problem that's occurring. And so far, this was the way to go, and yeah, worked. So I think this is what you have to do. You have to be determined. You have to be sure that if you put the effort into something, that it's gonna result in something good in the end. And there's always gonna be obstacles and problems in the way, but they don't destroy you. They just challenge you, I think. And then, find a new way. Yeah,
100% agree. And that's the main thing. I would say that's like 90% of the whole dropshipping game, to understand that for every problem, there's a solution and you just have to find it. Instead of thinking, okay, fuck, basically I have this problem, that's it. That's why my business is gonna die out. So it's really, really important to have that approach.
Yeah.
For you, what would you say were kind of the key learnings you took from the mentoring itself and over the time we worked together? What would you say were like the main learnings?
So basically this mindset has something to do. I mean, I've read a lot about these mindset subjects also, like before we started, but this is also like the reason why I approached a mentoring, because I just wanted to make it work and I was sure that I'm gonna do it. And then we started the mentoring, and you represent the same attitude, and this is good. I think it's, as you said, it's 90% of success is probably the mindset.
Even though it's super cheesy, like to say that,
it's
it's true.
Cheesy, but it's
true,
like, if you're not sure that's going to work out, you don't put the effort into everything the way, and you get nervous and you get like, you have doubts, and that's not good. So and the other thing is like some technical stuff. So for example, the product selection, like what you said, doesn't matter what you think about a product, if it's shit or not. So if it requires, like if it's giving you a check mark on every thing that it has to be checked, even though if you don't like the product, you're going to test it then. Then you are really surprised about how many people buy stuff that you never thought is going to sell. So this is important. And then of course also like the flexibility. Like I think one of the things you always preach is try something different. And if this doesn't work, you do this doesn't work, then you do this. You just don't stop, you just keep moving and do you try out something else that eventually works. So
and that's the flexibility is a big thing, because I've seen a lot of people who are very like stuck on one strategy, and they think, okay, this is exactly how I need to do it, and there's no left and right, and that's just how we're going to do it. But I don't think that way, just because I understand that for every person there's going to be different ways how it works, and there's no like all-rounder strategy which just has one path which is going to be perfect. There's nothing like that. There's always like a start and the end, and the path is constantly different. And we have people who are like, for just as an example, like having crazy good results with CBOs. Some people have amazing results with ABOs, some people with dynamic ads, some people with regular ones, some people with like super high ticket products, some people with low ticket products. It doesn't matter. As long as you follow kind of the fundamentals, there's always a lot of different things which can happen, and then you have to adjust to that. But you, for example, like even with scaling, sometimes you need to like increase the budget inside of the ad set level or inside of the CBO. And if that doesn't work, you switch to the next thing and actually do a similar thing. So create like a new ad set or create a new CBO if the increasing doesn't work. And it's really important to understand that there's different ways to success as long as you go in the right direction.
Yeah, as for me, for example, budget increase never really worked. So I had to play around with the ad sets and just launch them at higher budgets and don't touch them, for example. So exactly.
And it's always different. And then the problem comes then when you kind of listen to 10 different people on YouTube and everybody tells you the exact opposite, and they say, okay, this is the very best thing, you cannot do anything else, just do this and that's it because it worked for me. But that's a wrong approach, because I know that if something worked for me, it's different than if on average it's worked for like 100 people, So if I see, for example, okay, this specific criteria is just good for everybody, then that's a thing which is not a variable, basically, that is constantly there and you cannot change it. But there's a lot of moving parts in the business which are always going to be different. And for like, I see because I have the mentoring, because I have so many students, I see exactly that specific things are just working the exact opposite for other people. And that's a important thing you have to keep in mind, and not be kind of all stifled and all stuck up in one thing.
Yeah.
But for you, the other question I have here is, how do you kind of structure the day? How much do you work for dropshipping or ecom? How is that working for you?
Well, I work full time normally, so I reduced it in the last several months, but I also started working again just because I want to make all the money at the moment that is possible.
So, you mean full time and another job, not
full time and another job. So, but during the time I started dropshipping, it was during COVID, so I had more time. In the beginning, I put a lot of effort in it. So I think the product research was like several hours every day because maybe I'm still not really good at it. So it takes time for me to find the good products. Yeah. And then, but basically all like the store creation and everything was not that bad. It was like a couple of days or a week. And then managing the ad doesn't really take that much time. So for me, it was because I'm not that of a creative guy. For example, these things like creative creation. So I tried to do it for myself in the beginning, and then I just outsourced it. And then I took the stuff that I outsourced, and I learned a video program a little bit to tweak things by myself, because I just didn't want to wait 3 days for delivery and stuff. So it was in the beginning, it took quite a bit of time for the learning phase, but then after a while, if the product is running and everything, the ads management it's not a lot of work.
So right now, how much do you work? You say you have a full-time job, and next to that, you do the dropshipping basically.
Yeah. Right now, I work a little bit more on it because I have to solve all those problems with Facebook. So this takes time. And then, you just manage all the little problems that come along the way. Maybe you have a PayPal money hold or stuff. So then you have to be on the phone a lot and just manage things. But I mean, managing ads is like half an hour per day. And everything else is like, if you want to do product research or you want to do ad optimization, so this takes a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. I'd say 2 to 3 hours a day, you can do a lot of things. So
yeah, for sure, I would agree. I would agree with that, as long as your goal is not to scale really rapidly and really fast. If your goal here will be, okay, I need to get to like 50K profit per month in the next like 3 to 5 months, then I would approach it differently. I would put in way more hours and like test a bunch of things at the same time as much as possible, till you just find perfect winners and perfect combinations with ads, etc. But for you basically, like, I assume, have a job. Like, what do you work as?
Project manager. Yeah.
And you like the job, I assume.
Yeah, I work in a startup from a friend, and but I don't want to do it all my life, so it would be nice to focus solely on something, on passive incomes. So I will focus more on the dropshipping as well, or ecom in general. So I want to move away from the dropshipping, and for example, my product, I see a lot of potential. I want to turn it into a real brand and just go from there and do more marketing with influencers and stuff. So right now I'm in the process of getting the US warehouse for a good price. So this is going to be a game changer, I think. And then
for sure,
it in different ways, not only Facebook marketing.
yes. Okay, so how would you say that the whole dropshipping project kind of impact your life so far? Did anything change for you, or is it the same, or what changed for you?
It impacted it a lot. So I would say that has also to do with my personal situation. So my life did not really change a lot. So I'm not driving a Lamborghini or something like this. But during the last day, my cost of living due to personal reasons just increased drastically. And I wouldn't be able to cover those costs without dropshipping. So this kind of makes my life how it is at the moment possible. So this is like a good thing. And that's also, I think it's also a kind of a mindset thing. I realized that you always make that much money that you need in order to live. So for me, the next thing is to set higher goals and find reasons to need more money. I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna manage to do it. So yeah, it has had a huge impact. So
got it. So basically,
where I'm now because I couldn't afford it. So yeah.
Okay. So you kind of improved the lifestyle itself, and at the same time, like that's how the profit, like there, that's where the profits go. And at the same time, you make more profits, and that's why kind of the money itself stayed the same, but the expenses got higher and the profits got higher.
Yeah, it's not that my lifestyle has improved, but my personal, like living in between several countries and traveling a lot, and so it takes a lot of money. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. Okay, and maybe as like to sum everything up here, what would you say it's like the main thing you would tell to a beginner who's just starting out? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, get your mindset straight first, I would say, and then stick to it. Maybe it's not the first product, not the third product, not the 10th product, you don't know. But if you have your goal in mind, I think, and you stick to it and you do whatever it takes, then you're gonna make it work eventually. So yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And like also if you would look at the other interviews, it's a very similar thing. Mostly people say basically that is the most important thing. Make the decision of, okay, I'm gonna make this work no matter what, and I'm gonna stick to it until it works. So yeah, before we end this, for everybody watching right now, if you want to also join the mentoring program, sign up for that, click the link below. We're gonna have a one-on-one consultation session with me personally. We're going to talk and see if we're a good fit to work together long term. And if we think we are, we're going to actually start working together. If no, we're going to basically end it at the same time, and no hard feelings here. So yeah, click the link below if you're interested in that. And thank you, Andreas, for being here. Thank you for the interview. And yeah, talk to you soon on the next calls. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.